Hey, it's Mark with an altcoin market update for May 6, 2021. I'll have a Bitcoin specific update in the next day or two. For now, I wanted to really hone in on the altcoins. I've gotten a lot of new subscribers in the past week or two. I'm guessing it's because I've been writing about the market cycle peak or the pi cycle article I wrote. So if you're new, welcome. I think some people got the idea that I'm calling the top. I'm not. Quite the opposite. Nobody really knows when the top is anyway. But I can tell you that we will know when it is getting close and when we need to start thinking about getting out. Earlier this year, I was concerned about that. Now, not even. And we didn't. And even earlier this year, we never got near the top. It was just the trajectory and the expectations that people were putting on the market. That's what I was really focused on. In terms of my concern, not because of anything in that moment. I'm confident we're not near the top of the market cycle, but there are going to be ebbs and flows along the way. And, there's no denying altcoins are going bonkers. So the question is, do you buy more now or wait for the market to cool down? If you've been in this market for any length of time, or if you have any savvy around investing or finance, you know that times like these for the altcoins, specifically in the past, 2 weeks or so, 2 weeks, past 2-3 weeks, it's really not a good time. It's not a good opportunity. I shouldn't say it's not a good opportunity. It's still a good opportunity in the big picture, but the best opportunity to buy altcoins is past. That doesn't mean prices can't continue to rise, or that today's price is going to be higher than it will be in the future, or even the near future. Nobody really knows. And when you look at the history, the ebbs and flows of the market, well, sometimes you have these situations and it's just midway through wherever the destination is. And you can expect we're going to double from today. So you do the math, we double whatever you see in your portfolio for altcoins, Ethereum, whatever. If it doubles and then comes back down 50 or 60 or 70%, well, if it doubles and then comes back down 50%, you're even. If it goes lower, that's not fun, but it's not like, devastating. I'll talk a little bit more about everything in the future in just a few minutes. For now, I wanted to talk about something that is probably, if you haven't known it, if you haven't seen it, that this might be subconsciously why it's weighing on your mind, and that is the altcoin dominance. And the altcoin dominance is right here on this chart. I want to first explain that, and then I'll show you what I'm talking about. Because if you're new, maybe you're familiar with the altcoin dominance, Bitcoin dominance chart, but I'm going to take like 2 seconds just to explain it. This chart shows what percentage of the market is taken up by Bitcoin as opposed to altcoins. When this line here, this squiggle line, is a trading chart, so it might not be what you're used to. Each of these bars count a week's worth of price action. The open, the close, and then these lines are the extremes. And when these lines trend downwards, that means that the altcoins are gaining dominance on Bitcoin. When the lines go upwards, that means Bitcoin is gaining dominance on the altcoins. So alt season, there are specific numbers that I use for alt season, but I don't want to get I don't want to focus so much on this chart. The point is, alt season is something like this when the line goes down. We are obviously in alt season, and I want to show you how extreme it is. Right now we are above 50% of the market is captured in altcoins. Bitcoin takes up less than 50% of the market. We have only seen that for a very brief period of time once, and that was towards the very end of 2017 right here through somewhere around July or August of 2018. You're talking about 7 to 8 months total. The entire history when altcoins have taken up this much of the market. Now, that in itself doesn't mean anything. There's nothing to be concerned about. But you combine that with this parabola, or this budding parabola. Crappy line. That you see on the altcoin charts. That's 8 straight months going positive. every month, the altcoin market cap ending higher than when it started the month. We've only seen something like that back in from November 2016 to August 2017. And that was 10 months. So that doesn't mean we should expect that we're going to see altcoins go up for the next 2 months. In fact, I would be, if I were a betting man, I would wager that we wouldn't have that. We might, but I would wager we wouldn't. But my point is, this is pretty extreme, and it's kind of like how Bitcoin went on its own Bitcoin was on its own parabola from September through February, and it's gone sideways since then. But I mean, that was a hell of a parabola. That was huge. And so, just like then, it's a parabolic move. We're seeing massive extremes, unique in the history of this market, this segment of the market, the altcoin market. We know that the good times ended eventually, as you would expect they would in any market, any asset, ever, forever in the past and forever in the future. Doesn't mean we have to have a massive crash, right? We didn't do this back here. We didn't go down like that. But we do need to cool off. It is in everybody's interest to cool off, and it is also a natural expectation that we will cool off. Right now we're in a parabola. The best way to play a parabola is always to do nothing. The near-term risks are very, very high. And so what you want to do is just do nothing. If you're already in, well, that's great, because who knows how long this thing could run. Yeah, I'm waiting for the shoe to fall, but until we see signs of a market cycle peak, what do you have to worry about? So there's a crash, there's a pullback, it bleeds for a few months, or it crashes 50%. And that could happen if Bitcoin nosedives, or even just the natural flows. But in the big picture, it's cool. It would suck if we had 4 or 5 months where we kind of bled out. It would suck if we went through something like this again, like we did here, which was the end of 2019, where it just bled out for 6 months. 6 months. That would suck. But it certainly, and people might say it's a bear market, but that would be a massive opportunity for us. And it certainly would not be anything to worry about. Although, people will worry about it if that happens. It's actually really healthy. So the thing is, you never want to play catch up with the market. You had your chance. You had all this time to accumulate altcoins. You had your chance. It's not that chance, but maybe we'll get something like that soon. And that's what I'm waiting for. So look, at some point, the market is going to cool off. It has to. Nothing goes up forever. So look, you have money in the market, let it ride. If you haven't yet, wait for a better opportunity. If you really feel the need to buy, just buy. Don't stress either way. People are talking about market cycle peak. Yeah, I posted a few articles, market cycle peak. But I'll go into this more in the Bitcoin video that I put out. This is not a market cycle peak. It could be the beginning of a really significant, shift in momentum, or just another blip on the way to who knows what. If you really don't stress either way. Average in, if you really want to, maybe put in 33% of your money now, wait a few weeks, then put another 33%. Maybe the things cool off a lot in the next few weeks. And then, or maybe it goes up, whatever. But at least you know that if it does go down, you can take advantage of that. And then 33%, a few weeks after that. So, 33% now, 33% at the end of May, 33% sometime in June, and you don't worry so much about the price, but just buy up to a certain allocation. Just an option. I'm still waiting for the other shoe to fall. In general, my whole perspective around this market is to wait until the market shifts in a way where, even if the price goes down, it's not going to go down that long, that much. And then, even if it does, you reduce the risks to the downside and increase whatever gains you make in the future. Like, look, this move was atrocious. 125 billion down to 56 billion. That's crazy. That's a 60% drawdown. But each time that price went down, that means your future returns go up. When the price goes down, your future returns go up. And not only that, but the downside risks go down as well. Because structurally, this is still a strong market. There's a lot of momentum. These ebbs and flows right here, up, down, a little up, down, up, sideways. These are just the vagaries of the market. When the price goes down in a healthy market, which we have seen for a long time, in a healthy market, those are opportunities. And that's where your risks go down, opportunity goes up, and you need to take advantage. So I'm just taking advantage of those moments that when they come up. And that means this is not one of those moments for me. Don't let me stop you. But either way, don't stress about it. Let's look at some data on Ethereum. Before I do that, if you're wondering my thoughts about Dogecoin, I would say I agree with people who say Dogecoin is a red flag. And a lot of people say that because it just shows that this market is kind of nuts right now. Dogecoin is going bonkers. It's just simply bonkers. But honestly, Dogecoin is a community coin. So I don't hate on it. I don't have that animosity that some people have. It's a meme coin. It's a joke coin. But this is the crypto casino. People are out to have fun and make some money. So in that regard, it's not different than most other altcoins. This is a raging alt season. I'll take a second. I'll go down my personal portfolio and I'll just show you the 7-day returns. I'm just going to go with my top altcoins. 28%, 32%, negative 7%. That's Engine Token, which is a great project, but I guess it's having it's not even having a bad week. 7% is nothing in this market. But anyway, okay, 28%, 35%, 7%, 26%, 79%. I mean, that's not sustainable. That's just not sustainable. But it can run. Things can run. Go back to the Bitcoin dominance. And the longest time we've seen altcoins move this hard against Bitcoin is there were 72 days somewhere where we went. No, well, that was 35 days towards the end of 2018. 49 days in the middle of 2017. Let's take this whole thing. There you go. 84 days. 84 days at the beginning of 2017. And now look at us now. Look at what we're doing now. We're already at 126 days of the altcoins just crushing Bitcoin. 126 days. That's a lot. So let's look at Ethereum. I don't want to belabor this point. Let's look at Ethereum. I want to show you some good Bitcoin data too, but this video is going to be too long if I try to put it in there, so I'm putting it in a separate video. So I want to do a little long-term, short-term thinking. Short-term, Ethereum, as with all of the market, it's not the greatest look, but long-term, it almost wants me to break with my plan to wait before I buy. I mean, one of the things that's happening is even if we get like some kind of pullback, 2019 we did it, and later part of 2019, mid 2017 there were a few months where the market went down in the middle of 2017. Late 2016 was basically flatline, even going down for months. In late 2016, these all were even DeFi summer. If you look at what happened in July and August of last year, it was the same thing. And these were just these kind of these ebbs and flows of the market. So there's a cycle where Bitcoin goes up, alts don't move, then Bitcoin goes sideways, alts go nuts, Bitcoin drops, the altcoins drop harder. Very common pattern. So I don't think we're going to break that pattern, but when I look at the data that I'm going to show you, I get kind of excited. So in my last update, I showed you the whales were abandoning ship. It's hard to say how much of that is actually people exiting or people shifting to BSC or some of the layer 2s for DeFi. We don't know exactly why that's happening, but it fits into a larger problem. It's a short-term problem, which is the OGs and whales are dumping on the market. Now, they're dumping, but prices are going up, And the reason prices are going up is because Aunt Sally and Uncle Morton keep putting $100 into the market. Now, that's not a good recipe for long-term growth. Aunt Sally and Uncle Morton's $100, well, eventually they're very sensitive to price. And if we start going down, they ain't putting $100 in. They're going to stop putting $100 into this thing. And eventually they may even run out of $100 to put in. They say, oh, I put in the money and now I have other things I need to buy. Regardless, you want to see strength. And that means OGs, whales, people committing funds, people committing and investing in Ethereum, locking it up in smart contracts, putting it into DeFi protocols, just sitting on it, putting it in the ETH 2.0 contract, or just keeping it in their wallet and not touching it. That's what we want to see. That's the strength. One of the things that we see right now, new addresses are down. The number of new addresses has fallen off a cliff after spiking up big time in April. The number of addresses with a balance of over 1,000 Ethereum has gone down pretty much straight through the entire year so far. The number with more than 100 Ethereum in the wallet, same thing. That has gone basically straight down the entire year. The number of addresses with more than 10 Ethereum, straight down. The grayscale flows, the exponential, this is a moving average. The grayscale flows have been negative since March. That means that on net, more money is moving out of Grayscale's Ethereum fund than moving in. Even if people are putting in money in, that means the amount coming out is more than what's coming in. And so, that sucks. And go back to my previous update and you'll see even more stuff that sucks. But we are seeing some really good long-term foundation building types of activities showing up in the data. And these are the kind of things that don't drive prices up, but they lay that strong foundation for future growth. They get that conviction that I want to see before I feel comfortable adding to my portfolio. And this is the first thing I'll show you, the number of deposits into the ETH 2.0 staking contract. That has gone up in two separate waves in March and April through today. That's gone up. That's a staking contract. So you have to imagine those people care a lot to put up their Ethereum tokens in that contract. Also, the percentage of Ethereum value in that staking contract has gone up as well. The percent of the supply in smart contracts has been going up for a very long time, almost, for the better part of the last year. And now it's at the point where you got a good $70 billion in DeFi protocols. Now, on the flip side, that can get liquidated very quickly if oracles fail or the price moves really fast. But those are short-term problems. In the long run, we see an increasing willingness of people to lock up Ethereum instead of selling it, to use it instead of selling it, to apply it into some productive use rather than just sit around and wait for somebody to pay them more for their Ethereum. That is good. There's also the average coin dormancy, which is a measure of how eager people are to sell. That has trended down even as the price went up, which is good. It's good. We don't want this to go up. That means there's a lot of flipping. And so, we don't usually see that as you approach the peaks. In fact, we see it when things are kind of cooling, building, consolidating, laying the foundation. All throughout the end of 2019 into the middle of 2020, we saw that. We saw it again back from January to July 2016, and both times, once that shift happened, everything exploded. And you can see if you just follow the bottom lines, it's even a longer pattern of time where you had this downwards trend in the dormancy, the Ethereum that's not moving. And I guess that's because it's locked up in these smart contracts. But there could be any number of reasons. It doesn't matter why. It just matters that it happens, and it has to happen. Now, none of these things drive prices up, but they do prevent prices from falling at a certain point. They don't prevent crashes. They don't prevent bleeding out, but they provide that nice floor, and they paint a very strong long-term picture. And so I don't see any reason to worry over the long run. I still suggest investing in altcoins, even just Ethereum, if you just want to play it safe, as opposed to going into Bitcoin, When Bitcoin drops, alts will fall too. When Bitcoin's price goes up, alts will go higher. But this is a different situation than it was in 2019 or 2020 when Bitcoin outperformed everything. You had this big run up from the +1 scam, and the altcoins didn't really move that much until the very end. Really, not until around here did the altcoins really move. Then you had this move up, and altcoins didn't really do anything until we got to DeFi summer right around here. And that was a different, and this is a different circumstance. Ethereum is a beast. It has its problems. It needs to fix those problems. We don't know if it will fix those problems. There are a lot of other smart contract platforms that are doing really interesting things that may end up stealing Ethereum's thunder, or maybe even replacing it. But we don't know that. For now, Ethereum is the dominant smart contract platform. It will be for the near future. The data shows it's building a genuine base of believers that is really positive. And I would say, even though it does seem like Ethereum is just like, how could it go so high? You know what? It's a retail mania. It's a retail frenzy. And it can drag out for a while. It doesn't mean you should be putting money in right now, but I'm not worried. Let's see what happens next time the market drops. Yeah, I get the feeling a lot of people, they know the deal. And just like the Bitcoiners, they don't get deterred by the big crashes. I think we're getting to that point with some of these altcoins, particularly Ethereum and probably a few of the other ones. And, with inflation picking up, with governments trying to eliminate high yield investments, there are some strong tailwinds for DeFi, Web 3.0, with a lot of the problems that you have in legacy systems for people who create works of art, create inventions and other things. NFTs are going to be huge. They're going to be massive. That is a multi-trillion dollar disruptive force. And all these things are going to take a while to gain traction. But for now, people are buying into the market. Ethereum is seeing some real conviction. Some of these other cryptos are getting that too. As always, beware of the parabola. Average in. If my plan says to buy, or if my plan says to buy, go ahead, buy altcoins. Don't sweat the big picture. I'm not buying because I haven't found any really good projects in a few weeks. But if I find one, I'll definitely jump on it. My immediate goal is to keep raising cash and making sure that I have access to cheap credit. So whenever the price goes down, whenever the market goes down, when it crashes, whether it's a crash or we just bleed out like we did in 2019, where we just bled out week after week for months. Or if we just get kind of a short term, just a 2-month thing, boom, down, and then we're off to the races again, whatever it is. When that time comes, I want to make sure that I can take advantage of it. And at that time, I'm going to be raising my allocation to altcoins. I'm going to be buying fairly aggressively whenever this parabola ends. There's a good chance that'll be the last chance to get in before the true blast off. That proper super cycle, everything that people are talking about. I'm still skeptical about the super cycle other people are talking about, but it's clear we have a lot of room to run, even if in the short run, it's not looking so good. And this market really, nobody cares, honestly, that I say that, because this market does whatever the hell it wants. The point is, I'm willing to buy down for months, waiting for the market to turn around again. Unless we see the signs of a market cycle peak, I'm not selling. And we're just going to have to see how it goes. Relax and enjoy the ride.